Wednesday, I told you guys yesterday the story. I got to be a EMT the first incident. I got to be a firefighter at the second incident. And then we had a third incident where I got to be a mechanic. This video brought to you by Sutco Transportation. Sutco is hiring Class 1 drivers in British Columbia and Alberta. Go to sutco.ca to apply. Use promo code QUADFAN. Get an extra $100 on your first payday. How are you guys all doing today? Good afternoon. It's 1:55. Not sure if I got that clip in. The cop pulled over on the shoulder with another cop pulled over on the shoulder. It looked like one cop broke down. With me being a 10-foot, 6-inch wide load, I couldn't get past them. Until there was no oncoming traffic, or at least a gap in the oncoming traffic. Okay. Today is not Friday. Today is Thursday, July 7th. I have this truck in the shop tomorrow, so I've got Friday, Saturday off. I'm working on Sunday. I figure I'll get a video in now, and then I don't have to worry about a video on Sunday. Or maybe I'll make an extra video on Sunday for when we're on vacation and stuff. It's 1:56 p.m. We're headed westbound on Highway 3, coming up to Greenwood. I bet you that tow truck's coming for that broken down cop. It's 23 degrees Celsius outside. Sure felt a lot hotter when I was tarping the load. Excuse me. Here's the Greenwood Tunnel. It is one of the two tunnels that used to be here. That is the tunnel that used to be eastbound. There used to be another tunnel right next to it that was westbound. There was a railroad grade that went over the top. When the railroad stopped being a thing, when they stopped mining here and they upgraded this highway, they just moved the railroad out of the way. But they had to destroy one of the tunnels for the road, but left the other tunnel there. So yeah, there used to be two of those tunnels side by side. July 16 and 17 is Founders Day. Wait, when are we going on vacation? We should swing by here and check out Founders Day on our way on vacation towards Alberta. That'd be kind of fun to do. Okay, he's parked right on the shoulder. We are wide, so we're gonna have to cross the yellow line. Hopefully all the oncoming traffic knows I'm crossing the yellow line. Everybody seems to be paying attention. Good, good. Greenwood's looking pretty busy. It's tourist season. Speed limit's 50 kilometers per hour through here. During tourist season, you just can't do that. During tourist season, 30 kilometers per hour seems like a safe speed to be going. The chip truck is loaded, so we'll see. We'll see how fast the central chip truck is. We may be on his bumper for a while, depending on what kind of horses he has under the hood. Because we are light. It's a full load, 10.5 feet wide, not very long. I don't know exactly how long, but probably 45 feet or so long. So we got some space on the deck. Fairly high. Probably would have been room to put another panel on top or two. But it's the load they gave me, so I happily took it. Nice weekend load. Having conversations on there a little bit ago, but nice thing about wide loads this time of year, don't ever have to worry about wide load lights. Who cares? We're not driving in the dark. Days will be getting shorter again. We'll have to start worrying about that, but right now you can drive all day long without worrying about dark and lights. And if we were going in the US, we wouldn't have to worry about curfews in places you can't drive at night. Okay, so Wednesday, I told you guys yesterday the story. I got to be a EMT the first incident. I got to be a firefighter at the second incident. And then we had a third incident where I got to be a mechanic. Really minor third incident, but I got to be a mechanic. So as I crossed the border into Canada, I got a message on my e-log saying, hey, there's a truck broken down at the intersection of Highway 90. Was it 93? What was that? By the Yak scale. Was it 95? Maybe 95. 95 and Highway 3 intersection. So broken down at the Yak scale. So if I could pick up some hose clamps on the way there to give to that truck driver. I'm like, I'm pretty much there, so no, it's too late. But I've got a bunch of stuff in my toolbox, so maybe we can make something work. So pulled into the scale. He didn't actually break down. He had no air leaks. CVSE put him out of service because one of his air hoses had a rub on it, and enough of a rub you could see the fibers on the inside. Barely see the fibers on the inside of the hose, so they put him out of service. So I grabbed my toolbox. Didn't have the proper fitting to cut the hose in half and put a fitting in there. Basically cut that little rub out, put a fitting in to connect the two together. But the rub was only 1.5 feet away from the glad hand, and the air hose had the glad hand like permanently crimped on, not one of those that you can screw off. So I just cut the hose off at the 1.5 foot mark, put a brand new glad hand on it, which I had in my toolbox, clicked it back on. His hose is now 1.5 feet too short, so I told him, just be really careful around sharp corners until you get it to the shop. It's like if you go in a yard and jackknife the trailer, you might blow that hose because it might be too short, but I doubt it. So his hose was a little too short, but at least he's in service and he can get to the shop and get a new hose put on. It took me about 15 minutes to just do that, and then I was back on the road again. And so was he. And then I stopped at Sutco Salmo Yard today morning and picked up the fittings I needed to fix his hose. I'm like, you know what? Next time I'm gonna have those fittings. So I have the fitting to fix that, and I picked up a new glad hand right away too. Well, that's not true. I took his old glad hand, unscrewed the end, threw out the section that was the crimp section, and went into the shop and asked for a fitting that screws into the glad hand that I can use to crimp onto the hose if I ever need to. So I now have 2 glad hands, a fitting I can put in the middle of the hose, and a second fitting for a bigger air hose on the truck underneath if all of a sudden I needed it. So I have some basic airline tools to fix airline hose fittings. I don't want to fill like the truck full of tools and parts, but some basic parts, handy. Also have a glad hand seal sitting up here. And it's always sitting up there just in case I tear one of the glad hand, I guess it's like a glad hand seal. Oh, what is a glad hand? Just realized what I'm talking about. I'm talking insider talk. Glad hand is the coupler that there's a glad hand on the trailer and there's a glad hand on the hose on the truck, and it's a coupler that hooks the truck and trailer together and supplies air to the trailer for the air ride suspension and for the air brakes. There's usually a red one and a blue one. The red one supplies air to the rear trailer. The blue one is the one that sends the message to the rear trailer to hit the brakes. And that message gets sent by air. So the more air I push into the blue hose, the harder the trailer will hit the brakes. And yes, it's more complicated than that, but that simplifies it down pretty simple, pretty easy. I also picked up a new fire extinguisher, so I'm good there. I found an air leak on my trailer, just a very minor air leak, so I've asked them to fix that this weekend because I'm dropping the trailer off at the shop and the truck off at a different shop. So I also have a rub on one of my air hoses that I would prefer not to use my new fittings on, but if I get pulled over and get taken out of service, I could fix it on the road, but I'd rather have it fixed in the shop. It's not a danger at all yet, but I have a bit of a rub. I don't think it took me out of service, but you never know. Depending on the officer, some CVSD officers are really nitpicky by the book. Other ones will give you a break. Very often, if you knew there was an issue, they'll give you a break. If I put it into my DVIR, Daily Vehicle Inspection Report, if I put in my DVIR that I have a rubbed air hose that needs to be replaced, very often they will look at my DVR and go, oh, okay, he's got these defects, he knows about these defects, I don't have to tell him anything. It looks like they've only been a defect for 2 or 3 days, okay. So often they'll ask and say, hey, these defects here, where are you planning on fixing them and when? I can tell them and say, the truck is headed to Penticton right now, and it's going to be fixed there on the weekend. Most of the time it's just a verbal, okay, cool, have a good day. Sometimes when they do a full inspection, they'll mark it on an inspection report and tell you that you have to get it fixed before your next load. But if you didn't know, if you have like a bad rub and you can see the cords on the hose and you didn't know about it, then they're much higher chance of putting you out of service. Going, hey, you, as a driver, should have looked at this and should know that there's a defect here. You didn't. We're gonna park you until you fix it, so that next time you're gonna go look for that. It's a bit of an education system that way. Basically, we're not going to give you a ticket, but we will make you park. Here's the new lights at the Midway scale. I like them. At least now, when they're flashing, we'll actually see that the scale is open. It used to just be a little sign that flips over. I was always afraid I would miss the scale one day when it was open. And look, it's a Setco chip truck meeting a Setco chip truck. The lad too, see if they're talking on there. Nope, not talking on there. So Sutco had a trailer roll yesterday. We'll be driving by it after Rock Creek, so let's see if they've cleaned everything up by now. That's a few minutes up ahead once we get through Rock Creek, climbing that hill. I already know a bunch of insider info, like the driver was going 31 kilometers per hour around the corner. So, I don't know what else happened there, what contributed to the rollover, but I'd say speed wasn't one of them. Yeah, that's one thing about these Isaac systems. We actually have GPS tracking in there, and the camera is tied into it, the E-log is tied into it, and the GPS is not tied into it, so you can watch on video exactly what speed the trucker was going when he rolled over. See the brake input, the throttle input, all of that stuff, so it makes accident investigations much easier. Our company safety coordinator, I talked to him, he's going to call me in the evening and we'll have a conversation. I'm on the safety team, so we'll have a conversation. I have a few theories, so I'm not going to say those on here because I don't know. I have theories. And yeah, we're definitely driving slow with this chip truck in front of us. He's a lot heavier than I am. Takes a lot longer to get up to speed. So, if he is going to continue on Highway 3, we're going to pass him, climbing out of Rock Creek, but most likely he's going to turn north in Rock Creek. Head up on highway, I don't know what the highway number is. Rock Creek has a spring fair as well on the 17th. Kind of competes with your neighbors in Greenwood. like there's a whole bunch of campers there. Maybe they've always been there. Never looked before. Bah! Look at those cheap. Been sheared not too long ago. Hoping to get home by 4ish, but it's looking like I'll get home more like at 3:15, 3:20. Making good time. Looks like this chip truck is finally getting up to speed. Hit the scan button and see if we get any communication on some of the other channels. Just to see if the road is open out here at Rock Creek, if they're still cleaning up the load or not. It was a wide load panels similar to my type of load. Panels on the bottom and then some glue lamp beams on top. So in that case, the load itself is probably worth as much as the truck and trailer. They're worth a pretty penny, these loads. I'm hearing nothing on any of the channels I have, so maybe it is cleaned up. Oh, Highway 33. We're on 3. Highway 33 goes north to Kelowna, so we'll see if this guy goes straight or goes onto Highway 33 here. There we go. I suspected as much. everything's clear. I don't see anybody working up here, so. Suggested speed is 30 around the corner. And he rolled over.
Okay, I'm going to leave the truck right here.
Right after the no post end. So it's laying right in here. I just did that corner at 34 kilometers an hour. So I just did that corner faster than he was going. And no, that driver does a really good job of load securement. I've watched him load several times. He throws way more straps than I do. Speed and load securement out of the question. Those did not affect that rollover. I don't know what else might have. Yeah, it's all cleaned up. Tired. Short week and I'm tired. I get used to the short weeks though. But I think if my bunk AC works, I'll be tired less because I'm getting tired because how many mosquitoes come into the truck because I'm leaving the windows open. There's mesh in front of the windows, but it's just some of these mosquitoes get right through that mesh. The mesh is fairly coarse. I'd be happy with a finer mesh in there. Maybe I could put a finer mesh on it. Give me a thought. But once the bunk AC works, I can leave those windows closed and my life would be a bit better. I wouldn't wake up at 2:30 in the morning with mosquitoes buzzing all around me. Lighting up another mosquito coil to get them to leave me alone. Weather's not looking all that promising, is it? See trucks roll on this corner every now and then too. A little more climbing to do to get to the top of Anarchist. I guess it's hot enough to go for a motorcycle ride on the weekend, even if it's not sunny. As long as it doesn't look like it's going to rain. got enough rain over here that everything is coming back as nice and bright and green. So it's the greenest summer, early summer I've ever seen in this area. When you're climbing Anarchist, you get these little flat areas where you can gain a whole bunch of speed, and then you got some good momentum going up again. Slowly scrub the speed, lose the speed as you're climbing. Bit of blue sky there. Why would you come back over onto this side? That was dumb. Just realized I'm hungry. I haven't had lunch yet. That's kind of silly. 2:41 and I have not had lunch yet. Wow. At this point, maybe I'll just grab a granola bar or two. And brake check is 14 kilometers away. Yeah, maybe I'll pull in a granola bar or two. Call that my lunch and then just wait for supper. It's the last little bit of a climb here, and then we're at the summit. When we hit the summit, we'll see if we can see the mountains in the background or if they're all hidden in the clouds. Yeah, they're kind of covered in clouds. At least a bunch of them are. It's Anarchist Summit. I think I'll call it a day as soon as we get to that brake check in 12 kilometers. And for Monday's video, I don't know where we'll be heading, but unloading in Seattle Monday. We'll have to see north of Seattle really, but see where they're gonna get me to go pick up a load. Slower down for the 70-kilometer corner. Grab a second gear. And another gear. Fan on. Fan off. Okay, fine. Leave the fan on. There we go. No, the fan's still on. I'm just shifting up. There, the fan's off now. 4 kilometers. Hey, you see a lot of broken down vehicles on top of Anarchist. Well, really all the big climbs. These climbs will always test your vehicle. If there's anything wrong with it, this is where it's going to break down. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend. See you guys on Monday. One more week of trucking before we're on vacation. Don't worry, I'll give you guys some trucking videos while we're on vacation as well, but I'll put some vacation video in as well. We'll mix it up a bit. Alright, brake check's over here, so I'm out of here. You guys rock.